So today we are looking at the final SBCs that are finishing pretty much within the next week. We're getting a lot of shapeshifters now and hopefully moving into more of an icon cycle. It seems to be that we've got very few SBCs in general. So let's move on to the icons first, as they seem to have the most or littlest amount of time going. And to be honest, at this point, there is only 6. There are 6 icons going: Drogba, Eto'o, Thuram, Owen, Van Persie, and the brand new Beckham. Now, even the brand new Beckham only has a week, so I actually don't know what cycle we're actually going with here, because realistically we've got 3 weeks of shapeshifters. Beckham's only in there for a week, maybe 2. Say if it's over a week, he's got 2 weeks. Say if it's 13 days, it would still be a week, but I don't understand why it's such a small cycle of a card. When you do look at the normal players as well, we've only got 4 days for Lewandowski, 3 days, 1 week for Nkunku, 4 days, 5 days. So everything's finishing within the next week or so. Now, obviously, when you do look at the Van Persies, the Owens still got 2 weeks left, which is just crazy. So really, the last SBC available at the moment is going to be Michael Owen from what we've got here. In terms of the icons in themselves, though, where would they go now? Because you've obviously got some very good icons in the ones that we've had prior, and then the brand new ones. So Drogba in my eyes right now, personally for me, I think is still decent value if you get the right evolution going forward. Because realistically, that is going to be the big thing about it. If you don't get the value of a kind of like at least a solid Evo for maybe a finesse or something like that for a quadruple, then really he kind of just becomes into more of just an average player. Eto'o is going to be roughly the same as well. I do think for him, he's a solid striker. I don't know if I'd quite say he is a must complete in this. If you've already done him, then that's fair, but 560 would get you a fair whack of players at this point. I do think Thuram is still absolutely incredible. So if you're looking for coins, check in the description for El Dorado. Depending on the coin amount that you're looking for, the delivery time is displayed on the website, and you'll see lots of different trusted sellers with reviews on specifics and also the ability to be able to pick who you want. It will also show how much they have in stock, and obviously you can see that they are verified members. There is 100% refund ability and also 24/7 support if you need any questions with your coin needs. Also, if you head over to Trustpilot as well, you can see over 30,000 upvotes for them. You can see how reliable they are. Obviously great feedback across the entire board with El Dorado. So when on checkout, make sure you are using the code JT11 for 5% off your order every time. Discount code JT11. Now let's get back to the video. Again, whether I'd say he's a must complete right now, this is where the hard part of the game comes in, because even though he's fantastic, you've got to argue over the right backs that we're going to go. So I think for at the moment, because we're still going into the kind of middle of shapeshifters where we do get a lot more 96, 97s, that's fair enough that then he would drop down in the value. Right now he's still incredible and potentially could get an Evo in the future. I would say Owen's going to be in the not complete for this. Van Persie, one of the first quadruple playstyle pluses we had, again at 530 with his price. Finesse, low driven, first touch rapid. I thought he was a very good striker. It's a great upgrade for him. Obviously he had his 90, which was okay, but Van Persie's unfortunately never been in that top category when it comes to like the base sort of him. Even last year with his 96 and the year before with his shapeshifters, he was never in the category where you'd have him in your team over any other icon. Unfortunately, he just isn't that sort of striker in the game, or at least they haven't built him like that sort of striker. So I personally would go more into that decent value. Which then leaves us with big old Becks. He's coming in at the fullback, can still play the CDM role, and he's had a little bit of a change up with the quadruple. He's obviously got the anticipate, the jockey, the incisive, and a whipped pass. Now, unfortunately, putting him in the middle will kind of almost default that whipped pass, so you won't really have that going in unless he's kind of floating down the left hand side. Maybe you bring him down there for the crosses in potentially as a DM, but that then opens up the kind of questions of what sort of DM are you running. Are you just trying to put him as a centre mid instead? It's an interesting one, but there could be a potential position add later on in the game. So right now it may think, okay, he's only okay, but whether we do get a centre mid that we could add on to him could make him that little bit better when it comes to positioning. Fullback wise, I just wouldn't have him there. I really think as an SBC, it's a great price. It's a solid card, obviously quadruple, 96, all of that. The names are absolutely there, but realistically, is not going to be in the must complete in my eyes. I think he'd just be in great value for what sort of card he is, other than what he could actually produce as such. Which then brings us to the players. Now again, just like the icons, we have, I think, 9. We have 9 players at the moment. We got Kev, Thomas Muller, Modric, Nkunku, Lesummer, Zaha. They are the prior to Shapeshifter SBCs. Now, obviously, with the kind of first 4, as you can see, we have got them coming in as end of eras. As we've got Royce, because Royce was, I believe, a flashback, which we did get another Shapeshifter for. The only difference is, I don't know if you can get another upgrade from an end of era. So can Kev get himself a footies, for instance? Because if that is the case, then I possibly would say some of them could be worth a miss. Whereas if they can't get an SBC because they are an end of an era, then potentially it might be worth trying to get him done and then obviously waiting for that Evo going forward. Now, I think when it comes to the players, in my eyes, it was a very easy option for a lot of these. I think Kev is still one of the best cams that you can get in game. I would say Thomas Muller is a solid upgrade on himself, and same for Modric. I think both of them are phenomenal in the price that you're paying and what the output they can bring back. Lesummer, again, a solid card, 150k. I think when you're looking at that, 95 rated, I would go into the SBC storage. I'd do it purely out of any sort of duplicates in the market, in the, the storage. If I've got a high amount, then obviously she's going to be one on that list to go through. 150k for a 95, fantastic value. When we look then at Zaha and Nkunku, we got 59,000 for Nkunku, 35 for Zaha. As much as I don't know if I'd quite say they're in my team, they're definitely worth a potential complete for either fodder later on down the line or an Evo later on down the line. Which then leaves us with the final Shapeshifters. Now these are all quadruple playstyle pluses, which is always nice. We've got Lewandowski coming in as a centre mid. Little bit kind of behind the likes of Kane. I do think he's got some decent playstyle pluses, but Kane is definitely the better card out of the two in that centre mid role. And I think he could definitely get a little bit of playtime, but not too much. Savinho looks absolutely fantastic. As a striker goes at 260, very good play styles. Obviously, quick step, low driven, tiki-taka. The only one that I disagree with is going to be the technical. That for a finesse would have been insane. So again, whether I would have said maybe if he had the finesse, he could have been a potential must complete. But I'd say at least the decent value at the minimum. Which then leaves us with our boy Marchisio. Now, he's been waiting a long time for this. He's obviously got himself the 92 in the FUT birthday, and then finally he's got himself a 95 as well. And he is a striker with a right wing, with a cam, and also a right mid. 5-star, which is always nice. We can obviously put him into that midfield if you really wanted to. We've got the finesse, the power shot, the incisive, and the tiki-taka. So he would fit into a cam really, really well. So I do think for him, again, may not be the #1 option for a cam, especially when you do look at all of the Shapeshifters we've got. There is some incredible upgrades, and we are going to get 3 different teams from this. So whether for right now it seems okay, and then eventually does seem on more the lower end, that's a possibility. But for right now, personally, I would be looking more towards the decent value for him. There's very kind of mixed bag here. Owen's definitely not a complete. We've got the free SBC cards. I think some of these obviously could be put in okay value, where they're just okay, not necessarily going crazy. And then I do think Thuram and De Bruyne at the moment are the 2 SBCs I would definitely pick out of these. Beckham's an option just for the Shapeshifter card aspect, but they would be my options I would go for. So let me know down below, are you still grinding these out, or are we just doing daily upgrades? Leave it in the comment section below, and I'll carry on for the next one. Peace.